At that point, what you're doing is you're wiping out the slate. And of course, the mind computer, the ego program says, oh my God, who are we? Because it needs stuff to define itself. The mind has to be busy at something. And of course, what do you think the ego? It's a software program that does one thing. It uses the past to play with all the experiences and create a future. It's got to be busy with that. It says, well, let me take this experience, that definition, all this stuff, and we'll create a new picture. But the picture is all regurgitated from all the different experiences. So we are still who we are. So what happens when we forget who we are? By clearing everything out. You know, some people have amnesia. Sometimes the greatest thing you can do. Because now you forgot your past. Without a past, you create a whole new future. How do you create a new future if you're carrying the past? You can't. That's why I say, forget about everything you learned. Everything that you took on as real. Because I tell you, none of it is real. It's all made up. Really, it's all made up. You don't want to take my word for it? Check inside. Oops, shouldn't do that. You're going to have to bleep that one out. Because all of a sudden you'll listen, boom! It's all made up. It's not real. You know when the kids are playing in the schoolyard and they start making rules? It's just to play the game. But then when you want to play another game, you make new rules. And then we think that we have to have rules to play the game. Could you imagine now? Just imagine. And you can tell me I'm absolutely nuts. But how about if all of you were completely rule-less, definition-less, and you didn't know who you are except that you look in the mirror and say, wow, that's a pretty cool body. It moves, it does whatever. And you have no judgment what it looks like. It's not too fat, not too skinny, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have a pimple, it doesn't have a big nose, it doesn't have a small nose, it doesn't have small this and small that, big that, whatever it is. Oh, that's my vehicle. Cool. Let me go play. And then you have no history, no stories. Do you honestly think you can play a little bit on the free side of things? How would your world be? Just imagine that. You know, I said that to some people and they said the world would be chaotic. I said, really? I said, what are we playing with now? Oh, I love some of the religious people. Oh, you're going to hell for that stuff. And I love my answer. Where the hell do you think you are? Remember, you all sinned. You're in hell. You're paying the price. You pissed them off. He's got a huge ego. You got to entertain him. I love that part. It's just they turn around and say, well, you know, we made it on all the image and we're all the same. We're all perfect. We're perfect like him. And I said, then he screwed up. If he made such screw-ups that we're only going to one place, and that is that place with the fiery pit. So, we don't have definitions, we don't have the story. So if we get rid of all the belief systems of religion, all the belief systems of our culture, all the belief systems of any... I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying you give up everything of your culture or anything of that nature. You want to play with it, you play with it, but you don't define yourself by it. I had some... Melinda, I know, my daughter. I had some people come from Italy last summer. It was last summer, right? Last summer. I have no I have no concept of time. Last summer. And they're coming to Canada. Some of them never seen Canada before. I said, great, you know, we have this perfect place to come and play. Let's go have dinner somewhere. Oh, can we go to an Italian restaurant? Huh? I said, what are you kidding me? You have so much to play here. Try something new. Nope. Want to have pizza. All right. So you want to play it, you want to play it. That's fine. But when you travel, don't you want to have sensorial experiences of something different? Taste their food, see their cultures, play with it. How about living your life that way where you have no definitions and you just experience different things all the time? And when you're tired of one, you just get rid of it. Okay, we're not playing there anymore. It doesn't have you handcuffed and this it is. You're free. Now, how many of you really want to get up every morning, go to work in something that you don't like? I've had some people that say, yeah, I like it. I said, great, there's no problem with that. But not everybody does. And if they like it, good. You can like doing whatever you're doing, that's fine. I'm not saying everybody's doing a horrible job, no. But how about if you were free to do what you wanted to do, fully and completely with no barriers, and not worried at the end of the month you have to come up with so many little pieces of paper or digits on a computer so that you can pay the rent and put food on the table or anything of that nature. How about if we didn't have that? I've had some business people, they thought I had two heads on my shoulders. I said, you need money? Just print some. Do whatever you need to do and then get rid of it. What do you mean? The stock market will crash everything. What the heck is the stock market? Did you ever notice what that is? It's a real game. Okay, I'm not judging the game, but it's a heck of a game. There's winners and losers. How many of you think you're failures? How many of you think you're successful? You guys are too good. Because there is no failures or successful. You're always successful. You're just creating experiences. Well, I don't like my experience. Yeah, okay, well, you're now judging it. But if you want to change it up, change it up. But can we do it? How many of us feel free? How many we have a lot of young people here. How many of you really love and to really give all your life to go and be like everybody else, what we call the norm? You got to be normal. Did anybody ever ask the question, what is normal? Is there such a thing? Okay, I'm going slow. What's normal? Could it be just a few of us decided that this is the way it needs to be? And that anybody that's outside of that is weird? How many of you think that what I'm saying is just out of this world and weird, and that I should be locked up? I love you too. Thank you. But I can tell you a few years ago, I've been talking about this for a while. Not quite the same way, but I'm telling you, they thought it was weird. But you guys are opening up. That's what is happening, is our consciousness is shifting. You're becoming more aware. You know that curtain behind the little man doing that thing? It's getting holes through it, and you're starting to see through it. Or I can give you another analogy. It's like this, right here there's no windows, but if you were in a room with windows and we had these black drapes in and you couldn't see the outside, what's happening now, there's holes and rips coming into the, and you start seeing, where's that light coming from? You mean there's something outside of there? That's what you're figuring out. Plus there's a part of you that's pushing really hard inside to make a shift within yourself. And this is the reason that all this stuff is coming up really fast. And I know that we've been on an awakening process for a heck of a long time, but things are really speeding up now. How many of you noticed that time is not as long as it used to be? Things have speeded up fast. And our experiences, one after the other. You barely get off the floor, knocked over, and something else comes along. The turtle's finally just figured out how to just almost tip itself over, and somebody just knocks it over again. You got to get rid of the shell. Because the shell is our protection. We feel that if we carry all our belief systems and so forth, we're safe, secure. That's the biggest thing we run away from, that we're not safe and secure. That if we don't have this stuff in place, that we're not going to feel safe. I got news for you. How many of you feel it's safe to play the game you're playing? You guys are too good. We got a pretty good crowd here. There is no such thing. It's an illusion. Let me give you the rest of the secret. Not the movie, though. The rest of the secret. You are in charge. 100% what anything you experience and whatever happens to you. No one could ever do anything to you without your permission. Period. Not here. At the soul. So if you had an experience you don't like, or that you can say, well, this shouldn't have been, which you're doing. You said, sign me up for it. I'm going to push the limit a little bit and just play with this. You get in a car and you're drunk. And you run over somebody. Who's to blame? Of course the drunk driver. He screwed up. He killed somebody. Well, let me break it down for you. The drunk driver had the experience he wanted to have. That means I'll drink and I'll drive and I'll have this accident and kill somebody and then play with all the circumstances that come with it. It's my wake-up call or whatever it may be. Fine. But what happened to that poor victim that crossed the street? They got killed. Yeah, he was the victim. And we gotta feel bad. Newsflash. You know the victim that stepped in and he goes, me, I want to be. And usually there's a fight. There's all the hands. I'm next. No, I'm next. I want to go that way. Because we put the whole picture together. We can check out any which way we want when it's time. But we are in charge of that. Okay? There's no boogeyman that says, or that's the same guy that's pissed off and saying, you're off the planet, you're going back to that hole where that fiery pit is. It's not about that. We choose to get out when we're ready. But there's another thing to all of this. We're all interconnected. Because of the interconnection that we've created, whatever you experience affects everybody else in your life. So you get killed in a car accident, of course it's going to cause a ripple effect with the whole family. Of course there's going to be judgment, there's going to be all types of stuff. Colorful. Life is colorful. It's colorful. But they're wake-up calls for them. So you said, yes, it's time for me to go, but without going, when I go, I'm going to be of servitude. I'm going to serve my parents, I'm going to serve my friends, I'm going to serve my husband, wife, whatever, or lover, or whatever, by going out this way and causing such a chain reaction of a wake-up call. So how many of you would think, absolutely nuts, that we are fully in charge of our checking out point? You think I'm nuts? No, we're nuts. We're not nuts. Perfect. I didn't say that. No, I'm only kidding, you guys.
I only caught the I'm fully in charge part.
Yes. I'm just playing you guys. How dare you?
Can we alter the soul's pre-plan?
That's the best part of it. The best part of it is once you sign up for the deal, it's a no out policy.
Oh, so that's contract. That's the volunteer. Right?
Absolutely. But then I'll give you the rest of it. I know, cameraman. I'm moving. I gotta make an opening here or something.
We closed it. It was open.
Yes, there you go. You locked me up. And now I keep going out of the range. Good man, good man. All right. So what we do when we see, ask and you shall receive. So here you are, and you plan out your life. Now, of course, we talked about it before. We have a lot of timelines. So, okay, I'll give you the whole thing. What the heck? So here we are. We have one specific timeline, but we have a multitude of timelines, like I was showing you earlier. And you put certain checkout points. I check out at different points, depending what it is. So here you are, you're going there, and this is the magic number of 23. At 23 years old, you decide that you're going to check out. Preliminary date. Yeah, I think I got it done by then. And at that point, I'll do something that'll bring me a certain experience. That's it. So you get to 23, poof, you wake up dead. Some way. What you do? You wake up and say, oops, I left the body there. Oh, shit. What did I do? Oops. Am I still causing problems? No? Good. Okay. Anyways, you guys have nothing better to do anyways. So age 23 comes along, and you're coming close to it. And of course, the soul is not really always excited about stepping out unless it serves, and there's an agreement, and that agreement is still hard and fast, and you still have in charge of that. But you're coming to that point, and you say, you know something? We did such a hot job here. We really broke out of our boxes. We got off that roller coaster, and we're now seeing a little bit more of the park. We saw the bumper cars. We didn't see the rest, but we see the bumper cars. I think I'll switch over to that. So by doing that, you've now decided, you know, I'll stick around. So you can extend that. So you basically just hop a different timeline. Now, you're hopping different timelines along the way. You don't have to wait for that 23-year mark or just before that. So this is preliminary. Okay, so you can change it. You have the option to change. However, like I said, if you wake up dead, you missed the cues, and you got 23 and you checked out. Oops. You get to meet your guides, and they ask you the big question. So what do you want to do? Now the only thing is, you don't have the body and the computer anymore. So it's not saying, no, I don't want to go. The question is asked to the soul. The soul is asked the question, what do you want to do? You know I missed the cues, but I think this is going to be a nice little wake-up call for me, plus all these other things that played out. I think I'll stick around. So what happens? You come back. Same body, same everything. Prior to whatever checked out. What you did is just skip the timeline. So in one timeline you checked out, the other one you didn't. So you just shift. You're still here. Nobody noticed anything because there's no time. So, who's afraid of dying? You don't. You don't die, ever. You just leave one physicality, you get another. But the thing is, you're not in a hurry to leave the physicality, because the physicality can serve you long, long time. See how much power we have? Yes?
What is it we're here to learn?
What are we here to learn? Well, that's a good question. I'll have to get back to you.
Since we're all one, right?
Yes. We're learning how to play. And through that, we're learning. It's like this. You create a playground, and in the playground, you learn how to experience the playground while you don't remember who you are. So you're having experiences you've never had before. It's like this. You're a great engineer, and you have these beautiful concepts in your mind of creating a playground. But you now decide, well, it's all in my head, per se, and I want to create Canada's Wonderland. So you're going to create Canada's Wonderland. And then, for you to go there as the engineer at Canada's Wonderland, it's going to be a whole totally different experience. So you're going to forget who you are, and you're now going to arrive there, because as the engineer, you get onto your roller coaster, you already know what's going to come, what G-force you're going to experience, what movement is going to come. And then when you're there, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to start looking at it and say, well, what can I tweak to make it more exciting? But then it's not exciting because who's experiencing it? The engineer, nobody else. So the engineer says, well, I still know, no matter what I create, I always know what it is. So let me forget. What happens when a child comes into the park? Look at that. They don't know what's going to come first and what's going to be next. They're always exploring. And then because they're sensorially rich, they're actually feeling it. So without the body, you cannot feel. Without the body, you can't have this particular experience. So that's why we created the body, to have these experiences.
Is
Yes.
the highest state of enlightenment unconditional love?
Yes.
So
And-
would that be, in essence, what we're here to learn?
Well, that's part of it.
Okay.
As we remember, yes.
Right? When
We've-
you said what is the definition of fear, could it be the absence of love?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're remembering how to love through all the little dynamics we've created.
Thank you.
So that's what we do. So here we are. We're playing. We learn from that. And then what happens to Source? It becomes more experientially rich, and it actually creates, it expands. Because as it goes out and plays and has all these new sensory experiences and new capabilities of creativity, it all comes back together as one. Now it actually knows so much more, and it goes out and plays at a higher frequency, creates even more sensorial experiences. So it continues, and it's perpetually, constantly expanding and expanding and expanding, like you do. Each time you have experiences and you experience and you create more and more of your experiences, you expand. Did you ever figure out the purpose? You know, we come on this life, we have all these experiences, and then you die. And you say, well, look at all the education and so forth that we took on. We finally learned how to kind of navigate, and we're out of here. Well, see, we take all of that stuff with us. The important stuff, of course. So how many of you are now feeling a burden being in this physicality? Remember, whatever you're seeing and defining is giving you your experience and your reality. So in a roundabout, I've given you what is true reality. We made it all up, and we're playing our own little game. So what's happening now? Might as well throw what this 2012 is all about. See, at December 21st, 2012, we blow ourselves up. And if we prayed hard enough and we were good enough, we go into this thing called rapture. And you get sucked out of here. Now, some other analogies, we have these aliens that come along with these huge ships, and we load ourselves up, and then we purge the planet and then come back. Well, sorry, the stories don't work anymore. They were in our timelines, by the way. All the stuff that was projected at one point, it is in our timeline. So it's one of those that we've shifted from. It's like this. You must watch movies, and sometimes they have an alternate ending. Okay? Well, let's look at it this way. Here's a lifetime, what we call the planetary, with a multitude of different potentials. So we go in there as we start to evolve, we start to select different endings or different experiences. So we slide in another DVD. They're all there. Is it all hard and fast? No, because we get to get the director's seat too. See, we're always expanding See, even our probabilities or our timelines, we're expanding the timelines. They're not all rigid. We create timelines also. So that's how beautiful it is. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, what is the control structure doing? Does anybody know what the control structure is? You want to go there?
Money.
Well, let's put it this way. We do have a group, and I won't name them, but they think they're illuminated. And I won't say any more. A group that basically decided that they're going to control our reality so that we stay within a specific parameter of timelines, so that we have specific outcomes. Yes. So what we're doing, they've taken over and they're running basically the monetary system. They're running all the government. They're running the pharmaceutical. They run all the food corporations. They run all the major corporations, all the medias, all the natural resources. Oops. They also created all the religions. Oh, I didn't know why. Why would they? Because that's spiritual. Is it? Anyways, not saying anymore. So they created all of this. So they're in charge. So what we're doing, and they run all the education, so everything that you are allowed to learn. Did everybody figure out where this money system came along? This Federal Reserve and all this stuff? They just make it up. They create some digits, they make some, they take some out, they create these little pieces of paper. Did you ever take the Monopoly game and take those little bills and go into the store and buy something with it? They think you're nuts. But we're doing exactly that. It just has different colors and we decided to give it power. Who thinks that money is power? Who thinks that money is energy? It's none of the above. Everything is energy. But who's in charge of the creation of this energy? Who allocates the energy? We do. We give it power.
And all our energy is going to money when it should be serving the creation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. So we give it power. We give education power because we think the more we know, the more education we have, that we learn how to play the game better. So all these self-help gurus and all these other so forth, if you ever really take a look at them, you know, where they're teaching you how to make money, how to manipulate the market, how to, you know, play the game, how entrepreneurs and all that stuff. I'm not knocking entrepreneurs or anything. This is no judgment about anything. But when you really look at the fundamentals, all you're doing is learning how to play the game better. But you're still in the game. So it's taking a course how to play Monopoly better. Or you say, do we want to play Monopoly any longer? No. Do we still want to have the haves and have-nots? Do we still want to be enslaved? Or do we want to be free? If we want to be free, then we have to step out of the system. But we don't fight the system. We start saying no. We choose freedom. We choose love. We choose oneness. We choose to work together. And together we say no to structure. And we say yes to freedom. Yes to an open concept. Yes to creativity. Creativity that brings everything connected. No longer separating ourselves from one another. No longer separating ourselves from nature. No longer separating from animal kingdom. No longer separating from the earth or the universe or source. We've had the experience. We know how it is. We know what separation provides. We're experiencing it. So if I all gave you a contract right now to sign up for another 5 years of the same stuff, how many of you would sign up for it?
Yeah, right.
I've had some people that said yes, because I want to figure it out. That's okay. You can play there. That's okay. But the ones that don't, don't. But you know the thing is, that's the mind talking. Because it's still trying to play the game. You get obsessed with your video game and you're stuck with your thing and you're trying to achieve, and you don't want to let it go until you've gotten to a certain level. Then you get to the level and say, wow, okay, what was that all about? What did I do now? So the thing is, for us to start paying attention, what's running me? Because that's the first thing. You have to work on yourselves. Because the only way to get free is for you to free yourself. Free yourself from the programs. Free yourself from what is believed is right and wrong and what it needs to be, what the system dictates. Because the system only runs as long as we support it. And if we're supporting it, then it runs. Because it's back to the Wizard of Oz. There's only a small group of them that run the planet. There's 6.8 billion people here. We're talking like 300 families, and all the rest of them are just following the clones. That's it. You say, wow, okay, that's a big ratio here. But it's not about fighting the system, because if we are fighting the system, we're doing exactly what they want. We feed the negative energy, the dark energy. Because anger is a low vibrating energy. Even if you fight for peace, what are you doing? Exactly. Thank you. You guys are brilliant here. We got to give them all diplomas at the end of this. So it's not about fighting. It's not about rioting. It's saying, no, we're not playing the game anymore. And it's not about switching. You know, the thing is, right now, we're not looking at fixing anything. We need to wipe everything. And I don't mean destroy everything. I'm just saying wipe our belief systems of how it should be. The programs, the structures, everything. How we've been trained. You know, we go to school, we get educated. Then we have to uneducate ourselves to get free. I have these kids, you know, that they got to go to school, and the parents are, I got to go to school. I said, well, I got news for you. In a few years, this thing's all gone and obsolete. But if you want to have the experience, that's okay. The child signed up for it too. I mean, it's at one point. And then they label them ADD because they don't want to stay put. Could it be just possibly they don't believe in the curriculum and they don't want to be repressed and they want to really play? I've had some parents, you know, they come, you know, and they say, my kids got labeled with ADD, I'm all concerned and all this stuff. They don't stay put, they don't relax, whatever. I said, okay, pay attention. Is there anything that they like to do? Oh, they play TV, they play video games and stuff. And I said, well, when they're playing video games, are they moving? No, they're playing the game. How long can they play? 6 hours. Oh. Do they have deficit problems? Maybe what they're being focused before is not interesting. Did we figure out that? And it's not about interesting. It's more because they feel it's confining. That's what it is. They're feeling it's confining. So they don't want to be confined. Who wants to be confined? You're here because you don't want to be confined. You don't want to be defined. You had a question?
Franco, can we just talk about what life, I mean, we all have to leave this room and walk with the people that we've been walking with and get in our cars, which run on fuel, which we have to pay for, and go to the grocery store to buy food. And so what does letting go and freedom look like when we still are faced with that
Reality?
Yeah, well, our perception of it.
Okay. That's a good question. The answer is, First thing, part of the program is believing that this is the only way it needs to be. And you start changing that. Then you start letting go of all the perception attachments to it, everything that fuels you and brings up fear. Because once you start getting rid of that, you start getting rid of judgment, then no matter what you're doing, you're not judging. And then at that point, you're not playing at fear. And then you now start to change and you start following. Instead of saying, well, I have to do this and I have to be this role, I am now choosing to really be guided to what feels more natural for me. And if it means washing the dishes for a while, you do that without judgment and you allow other things to unfold along the way. But you're not judging it, because the moment you're judging it, you're keeping that energy of that whole thing in place. And as long as we're all judging it, we're keeping the structure in place, because the secret is, it's not about only what we do, it's what we see within ourselves. The moment we start changing our frequency, it causes a whole ripple effect, affecting everybody. Okay? So the confinements start to fall apart. The confinements can't stay together and they start to separate. And the control structure, because look at it now, look at how much stuff is coming to the surface right now. All the stuff that was hidden is coming up to the surface. Why? Because consciousness is changing. We're changing and we're saying, no, we're not playing with that. We want to know the truth. But are we going there and rallying? No, the cracks are opening up on its own, because our frequency is changing, and those things require a denser energy to keep it locked up. So as we start vibrating higher, that density can't stay in place. Who saw The Matrix? Good. Part 1. I haven't seen the other ones.
I think the saying is the Matrix doesn't program us, we program the Matrix, right?
In a way, yes. It was originally designed, yes, but we support it. We keep,
Thoughts,
yes. And that's why we're taught what to think. That's why our reality is created for us, so that we all think the same to keep the Matrix in place, because the Matrix will dissolve automatically the moment we start to shift. And it's starting to. So when Morpheus, if I got the name right, held up that Duracell battery and says, that's all you are, there's truth to that. For the structures to be, the matrix to stay intact, all the confinements to stay intact, we need to be in a state of survival and fear. So we still continue perpetuating that. Why do you think the movies we watch are generated with good and bad and fear, horror, whatever else? The news, the same thing. What is worth listening to? Horror stuff. And the thing is, they even make it even worse. Because we keep the energy going, and that keeps everything in place. That's why the first thing is for us to shift. So yes, continue doing what you're doing without judgment. Get rid of all the judgments, all the programs and so forth, and start bringing light to whatever you're doing, and you'll see that that starts to change. Everything starts to change. And then, be who you are. Don't pretend. Don't create a facade. Don't start to define yourself any longer or create new definitions. Be who you are. And if somebody says to you, you're not accepted, if your mind says to you, well, they won't accept me being who I am, that's just part of the program. Get rid of the program. You know, we came here to have all the individual experiences, which we are, because even though, but how individual are we? We seem to be all following some form of program. So what we're going to do is get rid of those programs. We start seeing what runs us and start dissolving those one by one. Start looking at it. It's like the boogeyman underneath the bed. It's time we turn on the light and see what's underneath and realize there was nothing under there except for our figment of imagination. So the biggest fear, the biggest drama that we have, we've got to look at it and say, well, what is it? It's only stories. Just stories. How many times have we made something huge for us, and sometime later, it's like, wow, what's that all about? Why did I get all riled up about that? That was so easy. Or we took a We were so afraid to do something in our life. Once we did it, it was like a piece of cake and we enjoyed it. I give you my example with my lovely daughter in the back there. She was terrified of water. And slides. I had her scream all the way down. Once. We couldn't leave after that. She kept going back and back and back. But it was that one time that she had to conquer that fear of thinking whatever she had in her mind, what it was going to be to go on a water slide and go into the pool. She's a fish. She loves it. But there was a fear of that. We all have stories we brought in. So we got to look at the stories and say, why am I afraid of this? You know, we could say, well, we're going to go against our fear. Well, yeah, that's one way. The other way is to look at it and then go through it. So that way you don't have to really fight it. Just experience it. Look at it. And say, okay, well, what's the worst thing that can do? But I'll give you a little secret, which I've already led to a few times. You're never going to have an accident or anything that is not pleasurable, unpleasurable. Is that the right word? Unpleasurable? Is there such a word? Unpleasant? Thank you. That's even better. That's probably the right word. Based on our context of our language now.
Yeah.
Unpleasant, unless somehow it serves and you've agreed to have it anyways. So let's look at it this way. We're afraid of falling. If we need to learn to get over the falling, you can do everything you want, you're going to fall. Because you're going to get experience and get rid of it. Get it done. Oops, that's how it feels. Okay. One other little thing. Pain is just a sensorial experience. We judge it as painful or as bad, that we got to watch out pain. Just put it this way. It's a very intense sensorial experience. It makes you feel alive. Did you ever hit your toe on a bed someplace? You're in the moment. There's a few colorful words sometimes that comes with it. But that's the judgment. But if you don't judge it, it won't hurt as much for that long, and it goes away. So that's the difference. So as you're going through the experience, you're only going to get the experience you need. But if you address it firsthand, then you don't need to have all these experiences. You don't have to have all the bumps and bruises. It's like the lady that came to me one day, a while back. She was paranoid driving on the street, so she went out and she says, I'm so afraid of driving in small cars, so she bought a Hummer. Seriously. She had an accident and injured quite badly. And she said, I thought I was safe. I said, you needed that experience. You could have drove in a smart car. You would have had the same experience or have no experience at all. How many people in smart cars are dead? No, if they don't need the experience, they won't. If you're going to check out, it doesn't matter if you're driving a tank or not. You're going to have the experience. So, we don't have to have that's the other part of the secret. You don't have to have all the experiences. Get the lessons, get rid of all the stuff, because right now we're in purge and clear. So if you're in purge and clear, to avoid as many bumps and bruises, not because it's horrible or that we need to judge it, it's just really pay the attention to what's driving you and just get rid of it quickly before it gets too hot and burns you. Oops, this one's got to go. This is driving me. I can't be free. What do you think depression and stress is all about? It's our mind fighting ourselves. Because we've created such a box. That's what depression is. We created such a box. Here's you. And now you created all these definitions of what life should have been like. And you just created all these boxes around. Belief after belief, after judgment, and so forth. So you're now so confined that you can't see out. Your world becomes dark, and you can become depressed. But what makes it even more depressing is this starts to squeeze you. And stress is going around and around and around in there. See how fast stress goes? What's the famous pharmaceutical thing you can take that takes care of depression? There's a name I don't remember, but anyways. Callus? Cialis? Okay, we'll use that one. Okay, there you go. You take Cialis, and what happens? It frees you from the boxes. Really? No, you just don't see the boxes, so when you're bumping against it, you're not judging it as much. Then you're numb. It's like, oh, okay. And then at one point, you come to the point where you can't see out, and you have no meaning of life anymore, and you want to commit suicide. They forget to tell you about that part. Your chances of committing suicide is much higher by taking an antidepressant. Little thing they forgot to tell you. And then, did you ever see the commercials when they're advertising medication? It relieves your headache, but it causes all these side effects. And you look at it and say, you got to be insane. I'm going to have heart failure and possible diabetes and cancer and all this stuff just to relieve a little headache? I'll keep the headache. Put an ice pack on or something. So the point is, dissolve the boxes, and you can dissolve all the boxes very easily. Because the boxes are self-created. Now, we have help. It's called commercials. It's watching the Joneses, watching other people, what they have. Because what we do, we have a tendency to compare. We compare ourselves to someone else. And we have starlets, and we have all these people that are put on a pedestal that their life. So we compare ourselves. Well, I don't have the body like that, and I don't have the looks like this, and I don't have the wealth like this, and I don't have all the toys. Oh, okay, thank you. They caught on. I do my seminars, and I have the gatekeeper on the back, always with the time thing. And I'm limited to 70 minutes each segment. Even for 2 days, every 70 minutes I have to give everybody a break. But here they're telling me I have to stop. Anyways, I get that too. It's over, and I'm usually gone. Okay. Yeah, so it's a matter of dissolving the boxes. And as you dissolve the boxes, then there's no stress. There's no depression. Then what do you see? Potential to play. But that's the boxes in our mind. But as we start to make shifts in ourselves, we start to free ourselves, we start to free the boxes outside of us. Because you know what happens? You know that thing that you struggle to make money and all that stuff? When you get to a state of freedom, it seems to show up in very easy ways. Now, it doesn't mean it has to stay in place, because that's going to all dissolve. If anybody's upset that there's not going to be any money some few years down the road, just go and sign up on the paper there, and we'll make sure you get to play with those pieces of paper that nobody else wants afterwards. Yes, there won't be any of that. In less than 18 years from now, you'll be looking in your history book and saying, what? We did that? Boy, they were archaic. I love the analogy to say, well, it's our ancestors that left us this legacy. Who do you think the ancestors were? Well, I'm going to check out, I don't care. You'll be back, and you'll be saying, who the hell made the mess? You did. So that's what we're doing. So we're not coming to the end of the world in 2012. We're just making a major consciousness shift. What happens is the frequency of the planet keeps changing. All the planets are realigning. Every planet emanates a certain magnetic field and has a certain resonance of vibration. And it all creates a certain sequence that starts to decode and starts to create a different frequency. Our frequency since 1986 has been climbing from what is it, 7 hertz or something like that? 7 hertz, yes, and it's going up. It's going to hit a plateau of 13, December 21st, 2012. At that point, what happens is it's like changing the channel on your TV set or radio, and you're changing the band of frequency. As you're changing the band of frequency, all the different programs that were on that frequency starts to dissolve. So it's going to be very difficult for you to hold on to your old ways of looking at things. Now, if you hold on to it, of course, it's going to take you down. And you have to look at it. Already a third of the planet is already decided. By the time 2014 is here, the end of it, they're out of here. They said, we already signed the card. We're out. We're on the list. Why are they out? Because they basically know that their structure is so blocked up that they can't get out of it, and their frequency is so low, they don't want to hold everybody else from making the shift. So they're going to step out. There's another third that is on the fence still trying to decide, and they're still playing with that. And that's the third. The other third says, bring it on. Let's do it. And let's carry on. And whatever has to come, let's bring it on. And let's play it. And that's what we're doing. We're experiencing. We're rocking our world so we can get rid of it. Our perception of it. Our reality. So is reality real? You could say, well, it is because it's my reality. This is what I see as my way of life. But did you ever notice that reality keeps changing? Because you're changing. So it's tied into you. You create your own reality. And as all the collective reality changes, the whole world's reality changes. It's fluid. You're fluid. You never were designed to stagnate. You weren't designed to be a repeating robot. We have the structures that we're reinforcing to become the robot. Many people say to me, well, I'm free. See, I don't go to work. But then they're following the same programs of something else. And they're being the rebel or whatever it is, and we're free. Well, not really. If you really look at it, you're still stuck in something. True freedom is you don't even have to fight. You don't have to resist anything because you're basically flowing. I don't play with this. I play with something else. And then I choose. Move. Completely fluid. I'm not a rocker. I'm not a this or that, whatever it is. You don't define yourself. Ever. We're never designed to define ourselves. We're non-definitional. Is that a right word? Undefinable. We're pure potentiality. We are source. So let's look at it. We are the source. As the source, we are the creator. As the creator, we are also the created, because we created ourselves. And not only that, we're the observer of our own creation. Woo! That's pretty cool. We just forgot all about that. But we're all of it. As pure creation, we are pure potentiality. And there is no confines. That's the true reality. There is no definitions, no confines. The universe is always expanding. The universe is always changing. And what we're doing in 2012 is a universal thing. It's not just our planet. It's all changing. Now ours is the most colorful because we're a little more behind the times. We're the ones that took the scenic route, and we got stuck with all the little, what do you call it, attachments of what life meant. So now we're moving. We have a lot of space, a lot of catching up to do. Because the frequency is so high and we're still playing with a lot of low frequencies, we need to shed all of it really quickly. So that's why it seems like intense. Now, us being, see, we're the hub, okay? Just to add a little bit more. Not only are we divine beings, that we were created from other races that have created we're being watched. Because we basically are the epitome, is that the right word? Of their creation. And they want to see how this all plays out.
Get popcorn.
What's that?
I said, get your popcorn.
Yes. And they have several flavors. And they're being patient. Sometimes we're a little slow. Maybe a long time. But now it's gotten exciting, so things are speeding up, and just they're watching. Yeah, the popcorn's coming out, and so we're the hub of it all. We're all being observed, and what we do affects them because we're all interconnected. So their interest is for us to make this shift and not to wipe ourselves out or do anything of that nature. And they also are preventing us from having other lower vibrational beings to come on the planet to stifle us. Because we're already very vulnerable as it is. Not only are we behind and we're going through this major trying to catch up, we don't need more obstacles. We don't need more walls to climb. So we already got enough. So that's basically what's going on. So we have some huge galactic ships circling our planet, keeping all these other energies out, or other beings that are liking to play with the darkness, the ones that originally came here and created what they created. We allowed it, so there's no judgment about it. And of course, even darkness is from light. It's just a lower frequency. That's all. So, we're back to the religious people, and they say, well, the devil, you got to be careful of the devil. Well, there doesn't exist one. But anyways, there's a satanic energy, which is a low vibrating energy. And I said, yes. What about it? Who created it? Isn't it light? And do you think light can dispel darkness in an instant? If this room was pitch black, somebody lit a match, it would change the level of darkness in here pretty quickly. But we're allowed it so that we can play that polarity, so that we can actually just move faster. So, clock me down every so often because I lose track here. Okay? Okay. The souls that are on the planet right now, the ones that are planning to check out, are going to play the devil's advocate, are going to push buttons for everybody. They're the ones that are going to get all the stuff and have no pain. You know the people that attract all this stuff and have everything just coming to them all the time? Well, it doesn't mean that they're always of light. They're basically said, we're going to be out of here, so I'm going to rub everybody's nose with this. I'm going to show that I can create a polarity. It's just that. And they'll push your buttons. And but they're doing it for service. It's for love. So the demons are there with love, saying, come on guys, I can show you how to play in the mud, but you have a choice. You can change. That's why the demons are running amok for us. But look at it this way. With these challenges that we have, with these new frequencies coming in, look how powerfully, experientially rich this is becoming. It's like the video game. Now that we have this powerful challenge, when you succeed in that game, with all these challenges, you're so much more skilled, much more grander. You've now just created yourself to be so much more potentially enriched. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get caught in it and stay in it, because we've done it for long enough. Now we're moving forward. We already said we're doing it. We're going to do it one way or another. So the dance is, look at your reality, because the reality is all made up. And we're being taught. We're teaching ourselves. And we're buying into, because I'm telling you, you're being programmed every day. But it's up to you if you take in the program or not. Because you're told what to wear, what to think, how to see, how to judge who's right and who's wrong. Even religion, right, wrong, good, bad. If they're not, they're all going to hell. Or this, or that. Or there's this God, or that God, or whatever it is. Government. Enemies. Did you ever figure out who made up the idea, who's the enemy? Look at it this way. You have one country fighting another country. They think you're the enemy. And these people think they're the enemy. And they're fighting. Half the time they don't even know why. Now they call it national security. What do they call it? Terrorists. Did you ever figure out the terrorists are the ones that are actually controlling these countries? And that are from that little group at the top? It's all staged, smoke and mirrors. You can believe anything you want. But you get to the point thing, is you can see it. It's so blatant. I mean, some of you must be awakening at this point because you're already here. But look at it. Did you ever watch commercials? Sometimes you're looking at it and say, how stupid do we have to be to even believe this? Or news or anything else. It's because you're becoming more conscious. You're starting to see that, hey, this is not real. Somebody's trying to sell me an idea here that's not real. That's what you're starting to see. The system needs to change. It needs to dissolve. And that's what we're doing. So, you're going to see things change even more drastically. And the thing is, be fluid. Whatever happens, happens. Just be fluid. Don't hold it. Yeah. Forget about fear. Our experience is changing. As long as we're holding on to something, it takes us down. If we let it go, we let it go. It's an anchor now. Don't hang on to the anchor. Let it go. It served, but now it's going down. It's like, oh my God, it's going down. I got to stop it. How many people are going to be jumping out the window when the financial stuff goes down? Why? You're finally getting free. I get the story, What happens if the system goes down? The system's going to go down. The whole world was just shut down. Really? For what? Because we don't have these pieces of paper or digits moving around? It's just an idea. If everything stopped and we're not playing with money anymore, we just get together. Hey guys, you do what you love to do and I do what I love to do. Let's get together and start creating food, whatever we need. If we'd have to drive the truck for a while, let's drive the truck. Okay, let's bring up all those hidden little technologies so we don't have to use fossil fuel. We don't have to use all these grids and everything else. Let's get rid of all that. We all pitch in together and that's it. Who really wants to work for money? Who wants to work for having a recognition? The ego wants that because that's what we've been programmed to do. We all want to help each other. When there's a natural disaster, did you ever see when there's a natural disaster? All the families, all the people come together and they're assisting each other. They help each other. So they had a tsunami, or something of that nature, not New Orleans or whatever, and other places where they have had major floods, they had certain disasters come to it, and the neighbors all pitch in. They're all helping each other. Put their lives back together. And then when it's all together, they start fighting again. Let's build it, and then we tear it down. But the point is, at that point, it won't happen anymore because there's nothing to fight about. Because at that point, our consciousness is shift. We don't need to hold on to the whole idea. When we let it go, it says we're not going to bring it back together. And then we're not going to create an economy. Because what does the economy look at? What do they say? Everybody's got to be working. That's a nice little game. Because as long as we have an economy that everybody has to be working, then everybody's enslaved. And then we got to consume. So what are we consuming? Stuff we don't even need. You ever look at the stores? 80% of the stuff in there is totally useless. We are sold to the bill of goods that's what we need to have. If we don't have it, then we're not in. We're not the same as the Joneses, or I don't look cool. What do you think fashions are changing all the time for? To keep us buying more. So the dress changes a little bit. I did it again. 5 minutes, eh? Okay. So all of this is changing for us to keep us going, consume, consume, consume. But then when we consume, we got to work harder. to make more money so we can consume more. Do you see the cycle?
Yeah. We become more disconnected.
Exactly. Exactly. So once we start going back to basics and we start enjoying what we want to enjoy, we'll see that most of the stuff in the grocery store, what we could call food, is totally nothing except for sensorial experience, because our life sucks so much that we have to have so much salt, so much sugar, so much bitterness. What happens is we don't experience life anymore. And when we're not experiencing life, let me put something in my mouth that at least gives me something, a sensation, because I become so numb. So what happens is we're hitting our head against the board. So now we got to go jump out of an airplane or something to make it more exciting. Or stick holes in ourselves. Or something. Who knows? Because we become dense. Or become numb. Because we're doing something we don't like, so we start shutting down. What do you think people want vacations? To get a break from the monotonous part, and then when they're there, they can't even relax anyways. But then when they're there, they're so hyped up, they got to do stuff. Because our life sucks so much, let me go do skydiving, let me go do parachuting, let me go do whatever's going there.
We do everything but look at our own soul.
Yes. Exactly. It's sensorial. Come on, come on, come on, let me have more. Life sucks. Come on, give me more. And we keep reaching higher plateaus where it doesn't still satisfy. So we need more. Whatever we got a thrill out of before, we're not getting a thrill anymore because we just get number and number and number. My father's been into spicy stuff and all that stuff for so long. You ever see him ever eat? He's got a jar of hot peppers and he's just pouring it on. It's like, are you having pasta with your pepper? It's the other way around now. Why? Because he can't taste anything anymore. From smoking, from whatever he's done, to drinking, whatever he's done. He numbed himself. We're doing it all the time. We numb ourselves with TV. We numb ourselves with all these things that we're doing. We never live life. We have such a powerful, beautiful body that has so sensorial rich that we can experience everything. We can connect with nature and feel every part of it. You want to make love? Make it. But feel all of it. Connect with one another. It's not about bang, slam, thank you, ma'am type of thing. Whatever the analogy is. So then, well, of course we got to have porn. We got to have all that other stuff because it's not enough. And how many are in the middle of it or thinking about something else? And then because their partner is not quite the definitions they created in their mind, they're thinking of somebody else. There's some individuals that are in a lot of people's minds when they're having sex. How about being in the moment and everything? How many people walk through a park and never realize what they passed? They didn't enjoy anything. They didn't even feel the sun, the breeze. They didn't see any colorful flowers. It's like, oh, did you see the daffodils? What daffodils? Did you see that squirrel and that stuff? There was a squirrel? You mean there was a tree? Oops, I missed it all. Because we're over there, we're walking through the park thinking of all this stuff. We're not in it. We're never alive. It's when and then, of course, even eating food. We're watching TV or doing something, we're always in a rush, we got to have something that's really sweet and this and that just to get a sensation and bang, of course. And then the body doesn't even feel good about it. How about enjoying it completely? Being in the moment and enjoying every sensational bite of it. And then you realize, if you don't put dressing on a salad, you actually taste the salad. And it tastes pretty darn good. But all we know is the salad dressing there that's got lots of spices, a lot of sweetness, a lot of everything to make up for our dull life. So what we want to do is become alive again. Bring ourselves back into the body and experience everything. And then experience all that we've created and be that creator that you are. That means you create a reality. You've heard of virtual reality. We're experiencing that, but we've created parameters of what we can experience. And what's happening is we're tightening the parameters. So we want to take the parameters out, and then you experience it fully. No restrictions whatsoever. Is that scary for anybody? It's scary? Great. Let's have a scary experience. It's exhilaration. The ego doesn't like it though, because it likes conformity, it likes structure, it likes whatever it likes that it's created. That's a software program on its own. But it's a self-learning process. It's a software program that is self-training. And it's become schizo now. For the people that don't know, I know that 5 minutes is getting extended, right? Who's in a hurry to run? Nobody? Okay. I'm not keeping you long, though. See, we have this thing called the ego, which is basically a software program. See, I'm good with circles and sticks, if you haven't noticed. I'm really not much of an artist. I would need an artist to do my stuff. So here's the ego. And the ego creates, the ego takes, I can't go far back because I started too far here. Well, let's do it right here. Let's not create limits. So here's the ego. These are all your experiences that you've had. Multitude of experiences. It takes these experiences and produces a path to take. It's telling you what to do. So this is all the stuff that you've experienced. This is all the stuff you've learned. What it feels is good or bad, whatever judgment it has. And now it creates a path for you. This is how life is. Follow this. I'm here to save you and protect you. I'm protecting you along the way. So that's how the ego works. But then, you know what happens? The ego evolved. Oops. It evolved? Yes. So now the ego tells you how to live your life. But when you get there, well, I'm going too fast here. Let's back it up. So here's the ego now. It split itself up, and it's here too. It's giving you, it's saying, go down this road. But while you're going there, it's kicking you in the ass, saying you're not doing it right. You should do it differently. It's telling you what to do, and then it's telling you that you're not doing it right. Then you get here, and now it's telling you screwed up. It's kicking you in the ass. I'm telling you what to do. You're never doing it right. You goofball. You screwed it up. That's how it evolved. But it didn't stop there. It got more colorful. It fragmented itself. Now it's giving you 3 stories at the same time. And these 2 buddies, they hop wherever you go. So now you've got 3 different stories. That's why you can't make up your mind anymore and you feel confused. Because it's telling you different routes and it's contradicting each other. And no matter which route you take, this buddy is telling you you're not doing it right. And whenever you get to whatever one, you screwed up anyways. So you're all boxed in.
It disguises itself as your own thoughts.
Exactly. Amazing. And these thoughts are programmed. And these groups that know, we know how it works, so let's program it. Let's massage it. You're worthy. You deserve it. You earned it. You need ego needs. The ego wants to be stroked. Sure. Self-worth, what's that? It's a mind construct, ego program. Happiness. It's only the opposite of sadness. It's just another mind construct. Negative, positive, mind construct. Stop chasing happiness. Start chasing positive, negative, and all that stuff. Be completely neutral. Your natural state is only peace, guys.
Love.
That's it. Because for happiness, you either have to set your picture of life. I have to have all this stuff around me before I'm happy. The good relationship, this and that and that and that and that and that. And then, of course, that only lasts for a short while when you have to have more. And then you see somebody else have something better. Now you got to, I got to change that. Put something else in there. I want that one, that person's wife. And I want that person's car. I want this house. You know, when you were happy for a bungalow, and then all of a sudden you have to have a 2-story, and then you have to have your mansion next, and whatever else. And all these gurus are teaching you how to play the game better, because the more you create your ideal dream, you got to have bigger, 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 better. Okay? So you're chasing. What is that doing? It's keeping you all tied up. You're not experiencing life. But then you can turn around and the gurus could say, well, you know, find happiness inside. So what do we need to find happiness? Stories. I appreciate this. I like this. I know that. That's as good to me. I have to start looking for things. But eventually that gets tiring too. How many people say, I'm happy? I see so many people come to me and they say, generally I'm happy. Then we end up with a shopping list of things they have to change. And then they say, well, I'm sad. Oh, because all of a sudden the reference point changed. You were sad in the first place. But we created the illusion of happiness. I get gurus that come to me that are teaching, preaching love, happiness, and so forth. And they're teaching you how to love life. And then they're coming there, my life is all falling apart. I said, well, it doesn't look that way when you're teaching it. But that's the facade, because we're all creating the illusion. We're playing with all the illusion. So, forget about happiness, don't chase it. Forget about sadness, it's just another story. Our natural state is pure peace. And pure peace doesn't require anything at all. You don't have to do anything to have peace. Get rid of the stories. Get rid of all the definitions. Get rid of what makes you right, wrong, good, bad, this and that. That's gone. Peace. Is that believable? That's all it is. So your love, your light, natural state is peace. And through that you can have joy. Make love instead of war. Is that how it goes? Something like that. The war is inside here most of the time, and it's all implanted because we've created all these beautiful structures. So that thing is now deprogrammed. Start noticing that there's things, systems programming you, and start to disseminate and start releasing it. Is there any questions that we need to have before I get cut off here? What time do we have to be out the room by?
9:30.
Oh, okay. Fast. Any questions? I can go on hours and hours and hours here. So, you know, anybody that's been to my seminars and sat through 14 hours worth of the stuff, they know that is never enough either. And I just went all over the place just to give you a little taste of it. There's a lot more to it, to a lot of things, but, you know, if you're interested, you know, these guys will contact you on, you know, seminars that I do have. I do have several of them. And I have retreats too, so there are retreats coming up. And so I guess you guys will be sharing it, even on my website, I guess, at some point. They handle the things. I just show up. So do specific subjects, because even one subject alone can take a whole day to explain, you know, if you want to do it. But the thing is, the purpose of what I'm doing here is just giving you opportunities to see, so that you can actually start taking charge of your life and start making changes. And it's not about fighting anything. It's just noticing what's running you and just take it apart. That's all. and then just use your inner guidance to guide you. Because you all have it, it's all there. You know, a lot of people say, you know, I want to connect with my higher self. It's always talking to you, it's always connected with you. You know, we may have created barriers because we don't trust it, or we feel that in some way, somehow we can't, you know, listen to it because it's telling us something that the mind starts screaming, no, you can't do that. You're going to be weird, or this, or that. You know, no, you got to go to work, you got to do that stuff, whatever it is. So, what's going to happen? Because that voice is clear, and the thing about your higher self, it doesn't give you that, you know, when people say you got to trust your gut. If your gut's going like this, that's not your gut feeling. That's an emotional response. Okay? I got a bad gut feeling. That's the mind spitting out some idea, concept of what it possibly can be, and then of course it creates a reaction. Now sometimes it plays out because we project it out and then we allow it to play out. You say, well, see, we're going to fix that. But a true gut feeling is an inner guidance, a pull, a push, and a pull that is so gentle. It's like, this feels right. Okay? How many times have we made choices and you had the gut feeling inside, it's like, you know, I don't need to do this. But we do it anyways.
Do you mean from your heart? That be?
It is really from your heart, yes. Yes. We call it gut feeling, but okay, let's go from the heart. Okay, we'll redirect it. It's a feeling from the heart. But at times we feel, you know, people talk about it's a gut feeling. It's really from the heart, yes. Okay. It's the heart. Thank you for correcting it, because some people might get confused. So, our heart is basically connected to our higher self and soul.
Apparently it has true intelligence. This is where the real intelligence comes from.
Absolutely.
And all your decision making and your action comes from here.
Exactly.
Isn't that our subconscious?
No, the subconscious holds all our programs.
That's the ego. You say that 90% of our action is actually guided by the subconscious. I think it's the works of Bruce Lipton.
Yeah, Bruce Lipton, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because everything in the subconscious mind, see, the subconscious mind holds all its experiences and uses that as part as a reference point. That's how you can have, you know, believe what you believe about yourself. You know, if you feel that you're ugly or something like that, it's usually all stored in the subconscious mind because it's collected a whole series of libraries of comparison, and then it created, well, I'm this or that, or I'm whatever.
It's all that internal dialogue, right?
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of people talk about rescripting your subconscious mind because the secret, even the laws of attraction, originally it was whatever you thought about, you know, will you manifest? Well, then they figured out, oh, we better tell you the rest of it. That is what you believe about yourself, which is in the subconscious mind. So that's the other part. So, you know, all of a sudden we create at the conscious mind, and then of course the subconscious mind has a lot more power over the conscious mind because that has the true belief systems of what it's programmed for. But then there's another part that came in, and this is part of I didn't even get to that, which we call the superconscious. And the superconscious is your soul and higher self. And once upon a time, your superconscious only had a 20% voting share of what you produced or created in your life. And the other 80% was subconscious, conscious. Now, because we're moving so quickly and things are speeded up, and the soul has said, we got to do this, the superconscious, on an average, is about 70% voting share of what you get, what you experience. And it can go as high as 90, and then sometimes it can be as low as 30, and everything in between. But on an average, it's 70. But why is it 30 versus 90? Well, either you're really on track, or you're really off track. Because if you're off track, then say, well, forget it. You do whatever you want. Push the buttons of everybody else. Because all of a sudden, the ones that are, you think the demons are getting all the fast cars, beautiful women and all that stuff, or whatever it is, gorgeous men, whatever, or the ideal relationship, and going, what the hell is that? Why are they doing that? Because they're basically creating that polarity for you. So things have shifted. A lot of things have shifted within our experience. And it's all for the good. Not that it's a good or bad, but it is all for us to move forward and create a new world. Our new world does not have boundaries, does not have limitations whatsoever. It does not have slavery, fear, control. It has one of oneness, and it's experiencing love and creating through love. And then our world will reflect that. We will no longer create anything that is not serving one another. We'll never make a product that's not harmonious and beneficial for everyone, including nature that it comes from and what it's going back to. Exactly. Exactly. And we're still, people say, well, then we won't have individuality. Yes, we will. We're just going to have a grander aspect because now you're truly free. Because right now, once you're in programs, you're individual within the box. But you're not really individual because a lot of the programs running is all similar. So true individuality and free, the true expression is being outside of all of it. And then you're everything. Then you really rock and roll. You really play. And you have a life that you bring in all other aspects of yourself. Your DNA is already reconnecting, so you start to use. It's like this. You guys have a Ferrari as your vehicle, but you're stuck on first gear because you don't know how to change the gears and you don't even know the gears are there. And then you have all these buttons of things with all these options that you have no clue that they're there. So what we're doing is we're remembering, starting to notice that, wait a minute, there's some gears I can actually change. And I can go faster and I can create different experiences. We have these awesome bodies, we have these awesome programs, computers and so forth. Of course, it's been numbed down, but we're going to change that as we're changing it. And then we can experience ourselves fully expanded to a dimension that it's amazing. And there's no limits anymore. And you just create. And and then everything is in harmony. Everything is in harmony. We're connected with every part of it. It is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've seen the future. I know there's a multitude of different futures, but...
How did you do that? Through meditation?
Well, I'm timeline jumper, so...
Oh.
Yes, I do a lot of timeline work. I do much more than what I do here. So,
Nice.
yes. I'm a being that came back on the planet to assist humanity with the shift. And I carry the new software for the new world, too. Yes. So that's why I'm just giving you a taste of it. So I didn't study all this stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you guys are reading now, the stuff that I've loaded up a long time ago. Okay? I've been on the planet for 53 years. So it's not just a few days.
You say the message is the same, but the messengers are all different.
Yes. Sometimes it gets filtered, and then their belief systems get in the way. But, we're always updating all the time. I'm constantly updating the information.
From all
Yeah.
my research, everything you said is pretty much like
Yes.
spot on.
Yeah, and that stuff, it's amazing when I see the stuff that people are talking about now. It's like, wow, I put that up 10 years ago and so forth. It's like this, because each one of us are a computer, a PC, but we're all hooked up to a server, and the server is basically the collective consciousness. So what we're doing is uploading all this stuff that's available for everybody else. Okay?
Ever had a DMT experience?
A DMT?
Yeah. Like, medicinal plants like ayahuasca or...
No, I'm already buzzed out as it
Because
is.
everything I have... Yeah. Well, I've had a DMT experience within the year, and everything that you said was shown in that experience.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
everything.
Well, I came from
the
that.
hard drive, lifting the hard drive, and how you fight to hold on to that because you don't think that there's anything else that you have to let go.
Exactly.
And when
Exactly.
you finally let go, you see who you truly are, like you said, peace and love, or love, right?
Yeah.
For the word.
And the love, when you experience that love, it's so powerful, so profound. It's like mind-blowing. It's absolutely amazing how it is. And it's at that point, you can't judge anything. You can't see anything wrong. You just see purely, everything is it's just amazing. It's just, and living on that most of the time is absolutely amazing. So it's really, we're in for a ride of complete mind-blowing experiences. And it's all up to us. So just notice what's driving you and let it go. We hang on, but it's not necessary. Not necessary, it's not beneficial. You can't even hang on to it anymore. It's getting hotter and hotter, more and more uncomfortable to hold on to it. You got to let it go. So, anyways, it was great to play with you guys.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure to share this because we're all in it together.
Yes.
You know, people say, why did you come here on this planet? Why are you doing what you're doing when you've finished all of this stuff? It's to assist, and you guys are all us. You're all me. And I'm you. So we're all one. We all benefit from it.
I fell apart.